right, so this video is going to be on long division. Let me take you back to like second, third, fourth grade. If I had a problem, something like 35,891, and I wanted to divide that by 254. You would have called that long division back then. Long division is basically just a repeated step of things that you do over and over again. You probably don't remember doing this. You probably didn't want to remember doing this. But when I put variables in there instead of numbers, then the steps are still the same. So I just want to review what you did way back when. Even though I know your calculator will come up with the answer, I want to go through the steps so that when we have variables in these places, we know how to deal with them. So what do? The first thing you do is you're not really going to try and see if 254 will go into 3. You're really trying to see if 200-ish will go into 3, and it won't. Will 200-ish go into 35? No, it won't. Will 200-ish go into 358? Yes, it will. So how many times? Well, 1 times 254 is in the 250 range. 2 times 200-ish is in the 400 range. So 1 is going to be the answer because remember, you don't want to go over your answer. So 1 times the whole thing now is 254. And the first thing now that we do then after that is subtract. So if you put it up here, you take it times that, you put it down here, line it up, and subtract. So that'd be 401. When you get done subtracting, the next thing you do then is you bring down the 9. And we start all over again. So, how many times will 200-ish go into 1,000-ish? So that's either going to be 5 or 4. So again, some of you are going to go over here and multiply that by 4 and get 1,016. That looks pretty good. If I were to multiply it by 5, that would go over. So I'm going to take 1,016, write it down there, put the 4 up here above the 9, and then I'm going to subtract. Again, whatever you put here, you multiply here, you line it up, you subtract. So that gives me a 3 and a 3. After I get done subtracting, then I bring down the next number, which is a 1. So how many times will 200-ish go into 300-ish? And that's probably going to be a 1. You put the number here, you multiply it by that, and you line it up, and then you subtract. And that'll leave me with 77. So we would say that the remainder is 77. Now, I said all of that to look at your notes on page 19. Page 19, it's dividing polynomials. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do this now with long division, only it's going to be variables. So I'm going to take m minus 8. I'm going to put it on the outside of my divide sign, and m squared minus 7m minus 11. Again, this is just problem number 1, page 19. Again, my favorite place to get worksheets, Huda Software, dividing polynomials. So I'm going to do what we did before. I need to come up with a number that's my guess for how many times will this go into that. And I'm just going to start with my lead-ish. So I'm not going to do m minus 8. I'm just going to work with m for the moment and see where that will take me. So how many times do I have to multiply? What do I multiply m by to get m squared? Well, that would be m. So my first guess is going to be m. Now I put it above the 7m because I know there are 2 pieces here. So when I put a number up there, I multiply it by the whole thing, which means that I'm going to get 2 parts to my answer here. Once I get done multiplying, Once I get done multiplying, I subtract. Now I'm going to put parentheses around there just because I like to use that to keep things safe. But for now, I'm just going to go ahead and subtract. M squared minus M squared does exactly what I want it to do. I want it to get smaller, and so this goes away and makes it 0. Negative 7 minus a negative 8. Negative 7 minus a negative 8 is negative 7 plus 8, which is a positive 1m. I'm done subtracting. What do? After I get done subtracting, I bring down the next number. So now I need to bring down my minus 11. So I'm left with 1m minus 11. And again, somebody's going to say, do I have to put that 0 there? I'm going to say, nope, you don't have to. But I wanted to show it to you so you would see that those actually turn out to be 0. Okay, so now we have to find a number to go up here again. So what do I take m by to get m? Well, that would be a positive 1. So 1 times m is m. 1 times negative 8 is negative 8. Once I get done multiplying, I subtract. I end up with 1m minus 1m, and again, that's a 0 there. You can put it there if you want. And then I take a negative 11 minus a negative 8. Negative 11 minus a negative 8 is negative 11 plus 8, which is negative 3. So I would have a remainder of negative 3. Okay, so that's what there is to this. Now, one of the things that we need to make sure that we always have is we need to make sure this is in standard form, so the exponents have to go down a 1 at a time. So if we have something that's missing, let's say, and again, I'm looking on the worksheet, number 10 on the worksheet, if I have 7x plus 7, and I want to divide that by, or that into 42x cubed minus 33. Again, I just rewrote that so I'd have some room. I'm not actually going to be able to do the problem just like this because I noticed that that's got a cube on it, but it doesn't have a square and it doesn't have a variable with no exponent on it other than 1. So I'm going to rewrite that so that I end up with a polynomial in standard form. So that's going to be 42x to the third plus 0x squared plus 0 x's minus 33. Notice that my exponents go 3, 2, 1, none. And now I'm back to long division. So what's the first thing you do? You take a guess. Start with your lead. What would I have to multiply 7 by to get 42? And what would I have to multiply x by to get x cubed? And that would be a 6 and an x squared. Now that I put it up here, I multiply it times the whole thing. That's going to give me 42x cubed plus 42x squared. Once I get done multiplying, I subtract. 42x cubed minus 42x cubed is 0. And again, you don't have to put that down there, but you can. 0 minus 42 is a negative 42x squared. And we go again. So, what do I have to multiply? Oh, wait, we bring down our next number, sorry. And that would be 0x. What do I have to multiply 7x by to get negative 42x squared? Well, that would be a negative 7. And what do I multiply x by to get x squared? And that would be x. I put it on the top. I multiply it by the whole thing. So that would be, oops, that's a 6, isn't it? Sorry. So that would be 6 times 7, which would be negative 42x squared, and minus 42x. I've got done with my multiplication. Now I subtract. For negative 42x squared minus a negative 42x squared is negative 42x squared plus 42x squared, which is 0. And 0 minus the negative 42x is positive 42x. And then when I get done subtracting, I bring down my next number. And I do it again. So, what do I multiply 7x by to get 42x? And that would be a positive 6. So then I'm going to get 42x plus 42. I'm going to subtract 42x minus 42x is 0. Negative 33 minus 42 is a negative 75. So my remainder is negative 75. Now on Math Excel, it may be specific, and I think it might be. So let me remind you of something else that you learned when we were doing long division in kindergarten, first grade, whatever, third grade. I could write that as negative 75 over 7x plus 7, because that's what I'm dividing by here. So my final answer would be 6x squared minus 6x plus 6 with the remainder of negative 75 over 7x plus 7. And that would be long division. It's not hard, it's not complicated, it's the same steps over and over and over again. But I'm going to tell you that 95% of your mistakes that you're going to make are going to be right here at this subtraction sign. So again, you always see me put parentheses, you always see me write it down, and sometimes you'll see me go ahead and write down what the result was, just so I can make sure that I don't make those mistakes. I hope you're safe. Keep working.